What is the true essence of evil? One can give an interpretation of evil as something beast-like and forceful in a physical manner, something that imparts its will on those around it. But I would argue something different. I would argue that evil in its truest essence is something that doesn't even need to execute its own will, but rather can manipulate those around it to enforce its will instead. In the words of Ronald Reagan, paraphrased of course, evil isn't done by men with AK-47s in the front lines covered in dirt. It's done by well-groomed men in dimly lit rooms with their fingernails cut who merely need to write on a paper for thousands to die. One man who is a shining example of this in our modern day, yet to be held accountable for his actions, is Hliang of Myanmar. Since 1948, Myanmar has been engaged in a war that since 2021 alone has engulfed the lives of 57,000 people, according to Amnesty International. Myanmar is a nation not often given attention on our side of the world, and that's because they fall out of sight of things most important to us. They don't provide any specific import of significant value. They don't have any cultural presence, and yet our blindness doesn't take away from the fact that there is death going on as I speak. In 2021, there was a coup in Myanmar, a coup engaged by a group called the Tatmadaw, led by the man who I speak of. It was captured on an aerobics class, being live streamed to Facebook. Watching the tanks go across the streets of Rangoon in southern Myanmar, you could see as a nation's brief stint at democracy was consumed in a blaze of war. And since 2021, many lives have been consumed. This man being at the center. He was born to parents from southern Myanmar in a northern Burmese city. He went to the most significant military academy in all of Myanmar at a young age, and he was called by his classmates unremarkable, quiet, reserved. Although it's something I can't translate for you guys, the nickname he was given by his compatriots directly translates as cat piss, the way that he gave off a stench that couldn't leave no matter how hard you tried to make it vacate. That is the kind of man who was given absolute control of a nation. And in this nation, there has been genocide and war. In this nation, there is no rule of law because law was abolished by the barrel of a gun. Law is the barrel of the gun. To various minorities in Shan State, the Rohingya Muslims in the north, every day, the idea of the army reaching their village isn't liberation, it's massacre. And I need to reiterate, this man at the center of all of it, he isn't a cult of personality like the Saddams and the Ayatollahs and the Führers that we think of dictators. No, he's just another replaceable military general. And yet still, he's regarded by the Time 100 as one of the most influential men of 2023. And that is because influence doesn't often come from the eccentric speech givers. It doesn't often come from those with their cults of personalities. It comes from those who give the orders that are followed. And his orders are followed because he wields those and their beliefs and their convictions, those with the guns. And because of that wielding, of that will of the Burmese military completely devoid of any rule by the people, thousands must die. And the truth of the Burmese people is might is right. Not because they chose this outcome as a country of 10,000 stupas, a Buddhist country, the most Buddhist country in the world. No, it was chosen for them once again by the barrel of a gun. Hliang didn't give great speeches when he was in the military academy. He gave them with passion. And that wasn't his strong suit that brought him to power, no. It was listening to the right people, finding what made them tick, finding what power was within the system he was part of. And for that reason, he achieved that power. Hliang is no real person at all to us here in the United States. He's just another figurehead. If we sent, like any other dictator, a group of CIA men, put a bullet in his head, there would be no change. he would be replaced within the month by someone willing to do the exact same thing over and over again. Individuals don't rule the world, and especially not in military. It's systems. And Aung Hliang is merely the modern face of a system of death and annihilation. I need to redo that speech.
Why?
No,
that was perfect.
That was really good.
That was so good.
That was